Okay, so here we have our 1920s period makeup face chart. As you can see on this one, I've drawn my hair in just to help give an idea of the shape of the 20s. It's gonna make sure that my makeup feels correct. So the 20s was where we really started to vamp it up with makeup. Prior to that, natural looks had always been in style, and the outright wearing of makeup was sort of seen as something that women of ill repute engaged in. But the 20s kind of brought it to the forefront for normal people. So some things we're gonna do that are indicative of specifically 1920s style makeup. One of the things is this arched brow. It is pencil thin, and one of the things that's kind of interesting about it, so it's the same thickness all the way around, and it kind of turns down towards the corner of the eye. The general shape of the face in the 1920s was just very round. The cheeks are very round. The contour line isn't really there, and if it is there, it's to accentuate the roundness of the cheeks. The Cupid's bow lips, the Cupid's bow is accentuated and overdrawn, especially at the middle, meaning it would be drawn wider than your actual lips at the middle to give this really kind of pouty and red lip. And the eyeliner was definitely there, definitely prominent. It's heavy on top, and it's heavy on the bottom, but I haven't drawn it out too wide. And the eyeshadow, again, is going to be sort of a natural brown or even black color. And it's going to sort of sweep up, and it comes out a little bit, but it's not a super wide look. It's just, if you concentrate it more towards the middle, it's going to give you a rounded look. Cheeks are very, very red and rosy, but again, very, very round. Nothing coming up on the contour line. Accentuate all the roundness you can. I'm going to do a little bit of contour in here to sort of pout out my chin a little bit. And when I do my actual contouring, which they probably didn't do in the 20s, but we are going to do for stage, I'm going to try to accentuate the roundness of my forehead and the roundness of my jawline. And I'm going to do just a little bit of baby jawline or cheekbone contour, and I'm going to make it extra round. So round, 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 batty little eyelashes is the way to go. So here is what I have for my workspace. I've got the paper towel to keep my desk clean. I've got the makeup wipe to clean my brushes as I'm going. I've got my Mehron foundation. This is the Midlight Olive. Got a highlight and a contour. We're going to use a little bit of each of those. I've got a MAC shadow palette. I'm going to use these for my eyeshadow and my eyebrows. I'm probably going to use the black for my eyebrows and a couple of these dark browns for shadow. This is my eyeshadow base. For blush, I'm going to use this MAC blush. This is Dolly Mix. You can use the cream blush in your kit, that's fine. I just like that color. It's a nice red, rougey 1920s color. So I'm gonna use that. I have a lipstick. You can use the lip color in your kit, but I wanted something that was really, really red. This is MAC's Russian Red. It's a matte lipstick, which is what they had in the 20s. If you have Ruby Woo from MAC, that's actually perfect, but this is good. I've got my blush brushes, blush brush, foundation, powder brush, a couple eyeshadow brushes, my mascara, and various other brushes. And we're ready to go. So start as usual by applying your foundation at super warp speed like I do here. Get it everywhere, work it back and forth. And blend it out with my powder brush. Put your foundation away and grab your contour. I'm gonna use my fingers for this to dot it because I don't want really strong contour. So you see, I'm just getting like the little wedge of my cheek contour there. I'm not bringing it very far down, and I'm kind of curving it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna round out my forehead, and I'm dotting here with my finger because I don't really want it to look very contoury. I just wanna try to accentuate some roundness. And a round little jawline contour. Happy with that, and I'm just gonna blend it. I'm gonna blend it with my fingers too. Now notice I'm not just smearing it, I'm kind of dabbing and pulling in the direction I want, just like I did with my brush. So it's not just smearing it back and forth, it's pulling it back, pulling it up, pulling it this direction, that direction, so that it goes where I want it to go and I'm not just smudging. Happy with that. Blend that cheek out a little more. Cool. Now, for highlight, that's going to be pretty normal too. On my nose, though, I'm going to highlight my nose, but I'm actually going to highlight all the way down the side. The idea here, I have like a very Roman-looking nose, and I'm just wanting to flatten my nose out a little bit, so I'm just making those shadows a little less dark. And bringing out the pouty chin. And then that under eye area, pulling that out nice and wide. Make my eyes look wide and give me a nice doe-eyed look. And blend out the rest of my foundation, or highlight. Now, eyeshadow. I've just got this base color. This is the same base color I use every day, and I'm just going to get that everywhere. And that's going to help me set the rest of my makeup look. Okay, got that in. Now I'm going to go with this MAC palette. I'm going to go with this warm brown right here to start shading in the crease. And I'm just kind of going in there from the crease, and I'm going to pull it up. And down a little bit. Go ahead and you can get it on your lid here a little bit too. They definitely shaded their lid. I'm hesitant to shade my lids because my eyes are so deep. I'm using the same brush I use for my foundation to kind of smooth it out, and I'll do that here again in a second. Here I've picked up a darker color of eyeshadow to even more darken the crease, and there's me blending it out. Again, with the eyeshadow base brush. So it's nice and smooth, and I don't get it darker than I want. I'm going to use this super thin brush here to brush in my eyebrow, and what I'm doing here, because I don't want to black out my eyebrows, I just don't want to deal with that. I'm penciling it in on the very top of my brow line. So I'm kind of cheating my actual brow line just above where my eyebrow actually is, keeping it as pencil thin as I can, but with shadow, and then I'm going to pull it down the sides of so it gets that nice like rounded outside the eye look. My eyebrows don't actually go that far down. And they're a little uneven, and that's because my eyes aren't quite the same. One lifts up higher than the other. All right, eyeliner. So they didn't have like sharp liquid liners. They used a variety of things that aren't quite like this pencil, but I'm just gonna use this pencil. And it's not a big, like there is some wingness to the eyeliner, but it's not like crazy dramatic like we do now. There's just a little bit of wing to the eyeliner, which I'm pulling out here. I'm going to do both eyes, and I'm also going to smudge it a little bit because they didn't have those super crisp lines. There's more of a smoky, smudgy kind of look. And I'm blending it out with my finger just a bit so that it's got that smoky look. Now, mascara. This is a great look for false lashes if you want to do that. I'm not going to use false lashes, but I am going to do several coats. So I do one set of eyelashes, I do the other, and then I'll come back and I'll do a second coat on each of them, and I'll do the same thing on my bottom lashes. So at least 2 coats. You can keep building up coats of mascara. Eventually you'll turn into like a giant clumpy-eyed monster, but you can get some pretty dramatic looks without going all the way to false lashes. It is important to do the bottoms here. I don't think I line the bottom of my eye because I get smudgy there really easily. But if I'm heavy with the mascara, it should give me that kind of under-eyed liner that I had in my face chart. Go ahead and grab that blush. That's that bright pink blush, Dolly Mix, and I'm just gonna kind of blob it in a circle real gently, and I work back and forth a little bit so that I don't get too much in one spot. And it should be a nice round, like rosy color just on the apple of your cheeks. Nothing swept back like a contour or anything like that, just rosy. And here's my Russian red lipstick. I'm gonna use a brush to draw, and I'm gonna overdraw my Cupid's bow. And then I'm going to underdraw. By the time I get to the outside of my lips, I will underdraw a little bit. So I'm overdrawing it, and then I pull it back on, and then even under. So this makes my lips appear taller and fuller, but not as wide as my big old mouth. it's overdrawn, and not a crazy amount overdrawn. This isn't a drag queen look. No shade to you amazing drag queens out there in the world, but just overdrawn a little bit, and it's giving me a very dramatic Cupid's bow. I already have a pretty sharp Cupid's bow. So you want to do the right Cupid's bow for your lip that dramatizes what's naturally there, but not so much that you turn into a Betty Boop cartoon. And see, I'm underdrawing, especially on my lower lip as well. You could use a slightly darker red for this, and that kind of helps cement the look. I didn't here. I had a lip liner that actually was lighter, so I ended up not using it. I'm going to definitely have darker ones, but you don't want it to be way darker, just like a tiny bit darker. And there is my 1920s makeup look. I'm so cute. Enjoy.